Sela dismounted and Caleb followed suit, grateful for a cluster of trees that concealed him from her view. At last she looked around, and he stilled, hoping Beck's gelding would not nick her to the horse she had tethered to a tree. All remained silent, and he rubbed the horse's velvety nose. "Good boy," he whispered, and the fox went still, his nose pointed into the breeze. "Come on, Rue," he heard Sela say, and the fox followed her reluctantly. Even in men's clothes, and with that determined, feigned swagger, Caleb would have known she was a woman, and the woman who would not keep out of his thoughts, no less. Tethering his own horse, he forced himself to crouch in the shadows. On such a night, and with very little undergrowth to conceal him, she'd easily see him following her. She might even scream and alert potential enemies to their presence. He would wait a few minutes and then continue. Aye, and then he'd stop her from pursuing whatever reckless mission she planned for herself. A long, lush valley dipped before Sela, the only thing lying between her and the settlement beyond, whose exuberant nocturnal festivities lit up the shore like fireworks. With the terrain more thickly forested than the coastal scrub she'd been traversing for the past hour on horseback, she summoned Rue closer and felt for the handle of the kitchen blade she'd taken with her. She mentally knifed every shadow and imaginary attacker as she descended the steep incline to the valley floor, then crouched next to a thick-waisted tree draped in a shawl of gray-green moss. Did snakes come out at night? She had heard rumors of various wild beasts prowling the Azazelian jungle, seeking human warmth and human flesh. An owl hooted nearby, and she was pleased she didn't jump. If she was to rescue Leary, one of them needed to be brave. While Sela's horse would quickly tire carrying 2 women and 2 small children, the moon shone brightly enough for her to walk alongside them. Her heart pounded faster. She was anxious to meet her namesake, and for Leary to be free at last. Having seen a cluster of tents circling a large fire on the far side of the valley while she was still atop the ridge, she moved in that direction, but the sound of men's voices stopped her in her tracks.
"Aye, Turner, Smith's confirmed it. That fancy-dressed, pole-rumptious White-Fist has controlled the settlement long enough. Before spring comes, we'll take it for ourselves."
Holding her breath, she peered around the wide trunk of the tree, discerning 4 men standing beside a shallow stream, 2 of them leaning against saplings, and the others shifting their weight from foot to foot. Had she stumbled upon a plan to attack Belladonna? The shortest of the 4, Turner perhaps, scowled at the broad-shouldered man who'd spoken.
"Smith's getting too ambitious. We'd need at least 100 men to take the White-Fists at the fort alone." "Smith has 'em," a wiry, silver-haired man put in. "And since we've been pilfering firearms for years now, we likely have more guns than the White-Fists."
The men laughed. Turner crossed his arms, a mutinous look carved into his stony features, unsoftened by moonlight.
"We'd do better to wait until we're stronger. Then we can take the whole island, not just Belladonna."
The broad-shouldered man glared at him.
"Arboron has sent for reinforcements, or so says Smith's man in the fort. If we don't strike now, we'll never overcome them."
The 4th man, who had so far remained silent, offered a sly grin.
"Are you sure Belladonna's not just about the woman?"
Sela stiffened, thinking of Leary. As if he sensed her distress, Rue flattened his body against her calf, his teeth bared in a silent snarl.
"The violet-eyed one who shot him? Smith had sooner kill her than take her for his own, Flores."
The palm holding the knife grew sweaty. They were talking about her. She moved closer to the tree, feeling the bark dig into her shoulder.
"Yeah, crumpsy tonight, Turner. Maybe you should have the woman."
As the men bickered in reply, the silver-haired man interjected again.
"It does no good to argufy, lads. Smith is raging hotter than a brand, aye. But the girl what shot him is sister to his bondmate. He'll take the girl all right, if only to spite the blonde-haired witch, and make sure she rues the day she pulled that trigger."